But with this introduction, I am inviting your attention to go through the parable of the one. What else do you see in that parable which can be translated into your knowing, into your doing, and into your being? You know, there are three basic components of every entity, which can be roughly represented by the English words knowing, K-N-O-W-I-N-G, doing, activities, and the being, the entity where both the other things are existing. Anyone can have any knowing. Knowing about the Gita or the Quran or the Bible or the particle physics or all great ideas are already here. That they know and they feel that they are okay by that knowing. That is the paradigm of stupid education process. If you know certain subjects by heart, or if you know you are something. But the thing is in the doing, because only doing gets translated into the being. I mean the being, that entity. Okay, this parable, now you know. How will you do the doing implied in that parable? So that the being becomes so powerful a force of the nature that it becomes a lightning when you do that hand movement, so that with that lightning stroke a border gets divided into two with a huge loud sound. Of course, that's a parable. Of course, even when you get detached from your current self to the different, beyond the self, there will be a huge lightning and sounding and disturbance, no doubt about that. Okay? Alright. Come on. Go back to the parable. What more do you see in that parable? What more that you will do? Of course, this is only a knowing program. This 2 hours is basically on knowing. But that knowing get mixed up, get inspired with the certain little clues of doing, which should happen automatically inside you. Come on.
So I was thinking, one thing that came to my head when I was just thinking about the parable was, for a seed to grow, it has to be planted in the right place. And that I was thinking.
Wait. One. That's point number one. That alone can be discussed a lot. A seed can come in its full completeness and correctness and blooming only if it is getting planted in the right soil. That's a beautiful statement that can be told even without the help of this parable. In the context of the parable, how did you say that? What is the data in the parable which inspires you to make that statement?
It's 22 hours.
It was the fact that he planted the same seed in many soils.
Okay. Good. That is the thing. As I said before, the entire world of mysteries and magic is open before everyone. Falling stones are available for everyone. Moving lids of boiling pots are available before everyone. A girl standing alone in the beautiful valley is available for everyone. Okay. That's what I told in the beginning. The entire magic of the universe, meaning not galaxies and all those things. Okay? That's just a word. They refer to the surroundings. The grass and the plants and the trees and the birds and the whatever is in your surroundings. Unfortunately, not the man-built concrete structures. Unfortunately. that apart. Okay? Even that is an example of the magic of the world only. That's a different story. So, are we going to conclude? Actually, what Uday refers to is a very tricky point. Are we going to conclude that we are not fertile soils?
So can I add something?
Wait. Is it connected with this?
Yes, sir.
Alright, please proceed.
So maybe the soil is equally fertile, but there are a lot of distractions. If you use it from an agricultural perspective, say weeds that come and throttle the.
Very good point. Yeah. There is very unlikely that human brain, that central nervous system, that autonomic nervous system, that beautiful other systems and every cell membrane. Remember what Vinay had explained in the wonderful performance of the cell membrane. It is the same in every human being, every organism. So the soil is perfect. Now, Christabel is pointing out another issue. What is that? That soil is perturbed, being made turbulent by other linkages of whatever, right, Christabel?
Yes, sir.
Is it alright? Would you like to explain more to that? Why it is so? How it is so? What is it? Would you like to add on something?
I don't have too much to say, but there are two thoughts that come to mind. One is that I could be willingly distracted by something else.
Wait, don't go so fast. One. That's an important point, very beautiful. Sort of willingly, right? Alright.
Yes.
Okay, what? Sort of willingly, it's a marvelous point, Christabel. Sort of willingly allowing other people, let us make a silly example. For example, I am sitting in the first bench or I am sitting in the third position or the second bench and the other guy is talking to me and I have to talk back to him and the teacher is explaining mathematics. There is somebody strong will say, "You shut up here, let me listen to," which most of the children are not capable of or not having the daring for various other reasons. Yeah, one point. One is that the human entities willingly allowing that distraction. Alright?
Yes.
1, 2.
Point two is that sometimes circumstances are even beyond your control.
What do you mean by circumstances?
So I could be 100% wanting to concentrate, wanting to absorb, but something beyond my control, maybe something will, okay, just even say today. I'm 100% wanting to listen, but maybe there's some little accident in the house or something that really urgently requires my attention. So even though I don't want to miss what the teacher is saying or what I am being taught, I'm forced to step away and deal with something.
Alright. That is an incidental example. Alright. So you mean to say that in the life of various human beings, there is a continuous inflow of such disturbing controls.
Yes.
Alright. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Anything more?
So not readily.
Alright, okay, good. Anybody else? Anything else? So we are talking, what are we talking? We are all sure that every one of us is a 100% fertile soil by virtue of the natural process happening in every neurons, every cell of the body, every gland, every system.
So, but I was just thinking, maybe there's different seeds for different soils. So like where one person, I mean, we're all fertile. A certain uh, method of achieving that kind of sprouting of the seed, let's say enlightenment or whatever, needs to be used for different people. So different people respond to different teachings.
In the context of soil,
Wait.
it is manure. To have a high yield, you have to have the right manure.
Once again, Ganesh.
To have a high yield output out of the soil, you need to have the right manure.
Oh. So right soil plus right manure. Okay. But what did you say? Uday, once again, what did you say?
I was just saying that while we're all the same amount of fertile, we may require different teachings
Okay.
to reach.
All right, okay. All right, that's a good debatable point. Now, Uday, do you mean to say that if there was a different monk taking the same kind of a session, some other person would have got this click? That's what you say. Okay, that cannot be easily debated because there cannot be evidence. Quite possibly because of some more little bit subtle reasons. All right. Okay. So that's a point. Then, like Ganesh said, the soil is fertile, but there is no required ingredients coming on time. Like rain is very essential. Water will be the great soil. Um, Perhaps um, uh, other animals or insects, etc., would be attacking that particular plant, and so on and so forth, which we can see in my own neighborhood. That is another point. All right. Okay. Okay.
When it fell on the soil.
What?
The time when the period when it fell, the seed fell on the ground.
Oh, what do you mean? How do you explain that once again?
Because if it is a time of drought versus a time of rainfall, the outcome would be different.
Okay.
So net it is the time space settings environment that would decide the destiny.
I think this part of our analysis should better stop here for certain reasons which I don't want to say. But I have a concluding question. Do you want to accept that you are a poor seed fallen into a poor piece of soil?
No. Because there are seeds that will wait for the right environment to happen and it will still grow.
Wait, once again.
Seeds also have the capacity to withstand any of the adversities and wait for the right environment for it to grow.
Oh, beautiful. Agreed. We can discuss on this alone in the entire session. But we have to cover a little more of the parable. The question is clear, yes or no. Do you want to accept?
No seed can complain about the environment and or its genetic deformities or whatever for its no growth.
Okay, agreed, Parvati. Agreed. Now my question, straight direct question to you all. Do you believe that you are so-called powerless seeds fallen into an unfertile land or not? Yes or no?
No.
No.
That's all. Now, little complex question. What all mind settings are required to maintain this confirmation that you have developed within now? what all possible distractions can be there for this clarity of perception? Do you understand the question?
So I
At this
think that you
point,
need to be, as much as there are distractions, you need to surround yourself with people who believe the same thing.
okay, all right. Each one of you belongs to different age groups, different role positions, different time, space, locations, different inputs and backgrounds and education and things like that. Okay. Once again, my question. At this point of time, Indian Standard Time, 10 p.m., at this moment of the universe, at this moment of planet Earth, measured by the clock as 10 time or whatever it is, if you are thoroughly convinced about the fact that every one of you is a marvelous seed of the human being in a fertile soil, you said yes.
Yes, sir.
Then, do you have any expectations out of that? Non answer no. Do you have any anticipated consequences out of that? Are you a victim of the public campaigns about those bloomed seeds? I hope the question is clear. Do you have any anticipated images about the quality or the publicity of the bloomed plants? Is the question clear? Is the question clear, Naveen?
Yes.
Because I am little concerned whether you may be unconsciously disturbed by the possibility that you may not reach that level of blooming about which every one of you have perfect clarity. Vivek has perfect clarity about what makes a great lawyer. Am I right? Vivek, yes or no?
Sir.
You have almost good clarity about what makes a great lawyer, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Uday has almost clear clarity about what makes a great film director, yes or no?
Yes.
So I don't want to repeat this question to everyone. So in that journey to that top of Everest of your purposes in life, where the only one purpose of human beings here is to individually experiment to what extent you can climb the Everest within oneself. I am warning you, or I am asking you, are you aware that you will not be influenced by the campaigns about those who have climbed the Mount Everest? Is the question clear? Vinay? Vivek?
Yes, clear.
It's very likely, as a researcher I am telling you, the major mindset that blocks you is your knowledge about other people, your awareness about other greatly bloomed trees. I used to say, God is the greatest block for those who are really seeking the God. This says that there are already descriptions about the God available. The God was not trying to become a God. I am just talking in metaphor. Jesus was not trying to become a well-known, so-called, the topmost spiritual model in the world. Buddha was not trying for that. Krishna was not trying for that. Even an ordinary creativity researcher is not trying for that. He or she is just doing the job in the most clarity of one's own sincerity. And I really mean genius himself. or you do not doubt that whether you are living a family life, you are living an organizational life, whether you are living in a role position with responsibilities added on to that, none of this shall be a block for that journey. That's what I am telling. None of it is. That is okay. But you may mistake that I am only this, I have to do only this, or I have to do this, and for the other thing there is no time. There is no time for blooming per se, Christabel. It doesn't need any time. It needs only your will, a free will, the will of a little baby, without being colored by anticipations about recognition and acceptance and fame and popularity and money and all those things. It is the will of a little baby, okay, let us say so. Innocence should be your primary quality. Realize that. Absolute innocence. If you understand that, you can look at the babies, or you can look at a cat or a rat or a bird. That is the original quality of this planet Earth. That is the original quality of every cell membrane, every organ, every gland of the body. It is not contorted by the so-called ideas about man-created whatever. Be simply innocent. Do not be affected by your social position, your social background, your whatever backgrounds. You can have your Cadillac or what you call Ferrari or Mercedes-Benz, and still you can be innocent. And you can live on the roadside and still be innocent. You can be roaming around the road looking at one cup of tea, still being innocent. Like a little baby. Little baby is the model. That's why some philosophers say children are God. Always cultivate that innocence. That's an English word. You can see the concept of that, and you have to constantly try to see the mystery, see the reality named by that word innocence. The model is a 1-year-old baby. That is so. Beautiful points. Now, what more is beyond that? We understand, I am repeating, why this is the most critical parable in the entire Zen monasteries. There are 4 more other parables. 3 of them I have discussed, just 3 of them I have discussed in my book, The Master Thief. Then there are other 2 more. Then little parables here and there, like is that so and all that. But the parable of the one is the paramount among all of them. And how do you see that? Okay, I will ask you some questions. Why that child got inspired with writing once? As Uday said, the Master said the same thing to everyone. But Uday had a point there which we don't want to focus upon. We don't want to be one of the 29. Uday, we want to look at the model of that only one child. We don't want to conclude that we belong to one of the 29. Anyway, I don't want to. And I have never done that. That's why you have to apply this knowing into the doing of your thought process, Vivek. You understand? Yeah. You have to take the finest possibility genius. That's why geniuses are such. Naveen, the microphone is on and there is some sound. That's why the so-called genius by classical psychological measurement is only 0.003% in the history of humanity. You should have the daring to take up that knowing and start the doing of that knowing. I want to look at myself. There was a question asked by Uday. Who do you want to see as in the parable? If I am the master, I am only a master. I want to look at every one of you like that innocent boy sitting in the corner of the classroom and getting inspired with the oneness of every one of you. Otherwise, why should I do this? Why should I talk like this? Do you think I am consciously talking like this? I am 100% clear that I am genuinely concerned to make you that only one. Okay, when you look at it, that you may be secretly wondering how can there be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 ones. Forget about the remaining 10. Do that one constantly. To this particular group I am telling, right now there is a girl living with me. She is at the top most dangerous brain cancer, 4th grade brain cancer. They was told that the chance of her survival is 0.5, not even 1%. And I am taking it up. When the topmost hospitals and doctors said they just cannot. What is my background? I am not talking about me. That is the way that little boy is fooling around with that one. I told this to them also. There is only a small piece of what you call hay, dry hay, H-A-Y hay, which is a proverb in Malayalam language. What is that? Vivek? എന്താണ് വൈക്കോൽ തുരുമ്പിൽ പിടിച്ചു കയറുക. Heard of it? Heard of it, Vivek?
I've heard of it, but I'm not.
Yeah. Vaikol Turumbu meaning a small piece of hay, hay, in an ocean, and somebody is drowning, and he or she gets only hold of that small piece of dry hay, and holding on to that, escaping from great danger. I am doing that, and I am sure I will succeed. I have to succeed. And when you decide like that, there will be great forces of the universe, great wonderful beings to just like that happen before you. Wonderful wonderful other entities will come and cooperate with you. I told them in the very beginning, I do not know anything. I told, I am not fooling around. I am telling you people, you are my world. Actually, yes. Nobody knows this. I told them, I do not know anything about this. I know the human body thoroughly. I know the properties of certain so-called brilliant, magnificent plants and trees and all those things. And I know some way of configuring it. I know meaning by the grace, by the great supreme blessings of whatever is written in the supreme granthas of the supreme rishis. And I am trusting that. And I don't have any background to trust it. Get the point, Crucible? If an Ayurvedic doctor is trusting it, it is okay. I am only a researcher, my subject was management, I have done a lot of research in creativity, etc., etc. That's okay. But I do not have any background. I am not a practicing, it is not, I am not running a hospital. I don't have any stethoscope and what is that thing? BP apparatus. I don't have anything to measure, not even a thermometer. I am just telling this as an example. I am not talking about me. I don't. Anybody can talk about the example of the Shiva or the Krishna or the Jesus or the Buddha or some other people. And that's why I told you in the beginning that I am doing a great program in the world, in the whole world, because I am talking about what I do and what I can do. Not mugging up journals and books and getting PowerPoint presentations and mugging up the subjects and delivering a talk. No. I have never done that in my whole life. From the age of 24. I never had to refer to any books to give a talk to any damn audience from anywhere in the world. And you know, I was just a hooligan, useless, foolish guy. Most of the time fooling around with the most useless people in the total location. If I could be like that, you must constantly endeavor to reach that full blowing of the you, which we have named genius in self. Just a language, that's all. And you have to be absolutely unperturbed by the campaigns of the world around. Uday, get the point. Always maintaining your innocence as a little baby which you have been once upon a time. Alright, when you are doing a creative, analytic knowing about the parable, with the purpose of a firm and strong will to do the doing of whatever that knowing provides to you, what is the next critical point you can identify in that parable of the one? Or, as you already understand about discovering that original self in you, or enlightenment, or satori, or genius in self, or whatever, I am asking another question. Why this parable is considered not by me? Of course, I also. All greats and masters in the past as the topmost parable.
Yes. To me, the whole parable is about the power of attention.
Okay.
And
Wait. Beautiful. Wait. Okay. Keep it point number one. Learn to talk like that, Navin, like I told today. When you are convinced about your findings, learn to have a very special way of delivering it to the audience, Naveen.
Sir.
I told you language is the only one tool for humanity. And almost any damn guy on the road is a master of language. And when you talk, there should be a discipline. There should be a certain pattern. There should be a certain editing. There should be a certain angle. Like a film. A girl walking on the road. Anybody can take a video. But how a so-called creative director, what way of her walking is in the focus of the camera? What is the lighting? What is the amount of focus? Same way, language also you can have it knowing. Okay, point number one. Because that point number one is a clear point. It cannot be combined with an and to something else. Get the point, Naveen? Yeah. One is what? The power of attention. Two.
Yeah. I think the whole essence of the parable is only one. That is power of attention.
Once again.
The whole essence of this parable is only one, and that is power of attention.
All right. That's all you wanted to say.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes.
Not only that.
Yeah.
Taking
No. Not only that. Point number two.
Sir, taking cue from today's topic, what next after one, my point is that even after one, there is again one. What I want to say is that it's all about game of one, be it action, be it interaction, be it living in a moment. Every moment is a one single moment. Every action should be like that of mindfulness, means I am dealing with one action. Every interaction should be one to one. And that happens, and that creates the power of attention. That needs the power.
No. Don't dilute it like that. What you said now is much more sublime, much more great. Like all numbers are made of ones, every moment of our interactions with the world should be treated as one. That's what you said now.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly, sir.
This is why the feedback is important, The originality of Naveen is producing an idea. By the way, you have to be more and more concerned about the idea produced by the you. That's what every genius has done, every genius in the history of the world has done. No genius in the history of the world has taken somebody else's idea and developed a thesis out of that. So you have to be sensitive, you have to be confident to consider the rudimentary projections of the little saplings of idea coming into you. For that's why this training program. Like Naveen, right now as I am demonstrating, he just like that talked this. And he considered attention as the number one because of his educational background, because of his other interests. But more critical point is what he said next, which I had to remind him to consider it as, though he is the one who said that. That's what you also have to do with every other trainee. Identifying the wonders of what he or she reveals, packing it, repacking it and editing it and making it a great feeling and providing it back to that person. That's what every creative activity is. A falling of a stone is taken out and a greatly edited interpretation of that which changed the entire world. Like a creative director, the data is from the world around and he chooses here and there and make a unique angle of observation and structures in a certain way and gives it back to the audience. Yes, Naveen, that after that one, Like the entire world of arithmetic is made of nothing but ones. Your entire world of interactions actually is happening in a one-on-one basis. That right now, 1 second, you can only do one thing. Because of the flow of time, we take it for granted. Okay, if I don't talk to him, I can see him tomorrow. If I don't do the work today, I can do it tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, or 10 years later. That's a marvelous point, Naveen. Your only one interaction. Your interaction with every other person is an only one interaction. Every other person or a group. But you are the interaction. So the you and the other or the others. But for you, you should give all the significance and importance and gravity of that only one interaction. Like the fire of a matchstick. Yes, great, Naveen. Are you writing it down in some project journal? Naveen?
No, sir, I am not writing, but yes, I am thinking all about that.
All right.
I love
All
that,
right.
this parable, yes, again.
All right. Yes. Next. The question is, because of the time limit, why this parable, according to your intuitive analytic observation, considered the most significant? In a way, every parable is great, of course, but in a certain way, I don't want to say what is that certain way. It is considered very important, very significant, very critically significant. One point Naveen said, and now anybody else? All right, okay. If your answer is not coming,
This
but
parable celebrates somebody's decision to be unique in spite of all the oddities that happened to his or her life, and continue to be in a flow. So this parable actually celebrates that,
okay, what is the data?
because at the end things are going positive for the child. When in the beginning he was asked to leave the monastery, but at the end it showed how it turned out to be good and positive for that child, and in a very wonderful way.
You are talking about what?
The way he demonstrated
No, no.
his uniqueness to his own master, who asked him to leave at one point in time.
No,
So
no,
when he was left, there was no question asked as per the report, and he didn't know why he was asked to leave, neither his parents, and but that would have created a confusion for the child, definitely, and but in spite of all that, the child continued with his uniqueness and continued to be in his flow, and the positive
wait.
aspect and wonder of it was shown as a wonder at the end.
All right. There is another clue hiding there. There is another gate ready to be opened. What is that? In what Parvati identified as a slice of the parable, in that slice, in that piece of the parable, is another clue hiding, another perception possible. What is that?
I think to be in your own flow, you may sometimes have to go against everyone else or against society.
Not clear.
So what Parvati was saying about he stuck to his own uniqueness and he kind of found his own flow.
All right. Anything else? Good. You are reflecting upon what? That part of the parable,
Basically-
if you take that part of the affair, which Parvati had chosen, that is, what is that? The boy, after being asked to go out of the school, practicing it and doing that, etc. All right? Okay.
Yeah,
It's
it
not-
affected his uniqueness or flow.
Okay. In that aspect, don't get influenced by what Parvati said or anything. Nobody shall get influenced by what everybody says, and I don't want you to be influenced by what I say also. You be exposed to this world of whatever is happening to you between 9:30 to 11:30 every Saturday, and allow it to go through that, and you choose your ones, you choose whatever, and the goal is very clear. All right. In that part of in that direction of the totality of the parable, what other great idea is hiding? There's a great reality is hiding there. Parvati. What happened to that child? You look at the parable. Okay, it will take some time because I think this parable should be discussed in a monastery sitting. We are all here in this forest and just walking around having a cup of tea and at 12 o'clock night and all that. Unfortunately, that's not possible. Okay. See, when you take a deviation, when you take your own turning point of existence, you will be asked to get out of the place. Or you will be forced to get from that place. Even your own very father and mother will tell you to get out of the house. Even if nobody tells you, you will just resign. That's what Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Albert Einstein and Newton and all those great people have done. I'm very sorry to use those examples only because they are very well known. There may be umpteen number of other people. When you take your own choice of an idea out of the ideas given by your own father, mother, teacher, world, and if you want to live by that idea given to you by the very world, if you are completely committed and dedicated to that idea, you will be asked to go away from by the very world.
Sir, may I give an example from my own life?
Yes, please.
So, my choice of career in dance, everyone was against it, and was expected to be a lawyer. I became a lawyer.
Despite her qualification as a lawyer. Please.
Yes. And nobody believed that I could make it as a dancer or even earn an income as a dancer. And that made me even more determined that I was going to succeed because I knew that that was my passion and that was where my heart was. And so I gave up after 10 years of practicing as a lawyer. I gave that up against the wishes of my family, my brother, my father. My father will never forgive me even till today. But I still made it as a dancer. And
that's it. That's it. Her example, live example, is a clear evidence. But as a result, though it is not at all important for a genius, according to reports, more than 1,000 articles have come in top newspapers in India about her. More than 3,000, 4,000 students, including some of the so-called film actresses. These are not an important parameters, I'm sorry. And these are not at all important. She did not do this for that, it's obvious. At a young age, when she decided to break her career and going into that, she was not planning to do all those things. I must get 3,000 students, I must be well known, articles should come in my newspaper. None of this was 100% not there in the mind of that young girl, no doubt about that. But I said this, sorry, this is an unfortunate thing. We have to give examples of greatness. Okay, that's also important anyway because we are all living in a human social system and social structure. Therefore, these are all important also. That's something which can enjoy, no doubt about that. No doubt. Okay, it is enjoyable. I'm sure she must have had great moments of enjoyment about that. Alright, good. But she started doing this not for that. Am I right, Kusabel?
Yeah,
100%.
just for the joy of it.
100%, that's all. That little baby got so inspired by writing that beautiful vertical line, so he could not bypass it. Because 2 ones make 2 and 9 ones make 9. So how can I disregard that beautiful 1 and just adhere to the 9? But as a result, our point here is, when you get inspired with something, the very word which asked you to be, which gave you that idea, of course Russian ballet is not her discovery. That very world will abandon you, alienate you, ostracize you, criticize you, banish you. Alright? That you have to strategically escape. It is possible. Alright? Very example is Christabel. Her father is a very, very powerful person in the entire Bangalore city. Sorry to use the word, more or less a ferocious person. But she could withstand the turmoils of his anger and could pursue her interests. Similarly, when that little boy was asked to go from the school, when the other 29 children were remaining there, you just imagine the power of that inspiration, and which continued for another 19 years, so that he wanted to demonstrate before the very master, not as a retaliatory measure, told Naveen. There Uday made a mistake. Uday made a perception that he did not bow before the master. Why he finally went to the master is to prove the master right, Naveen. Get the point, Kusumal? That was the moment of a second, third or fourth ultimate enlightenment for the master. By that he was proving to the master, Master, this is what you have done to me. This is the way you introduced me, this is the way you inducted me into the world of arithmetics using this symbol of the one. And that was the moment of enlightenment for the master, Naveen, not for the boy. And he did not bow because he wanted to present the objective evidence. Had he bowed, the master would have been biased. And Uday also mentioned a point that by the time both of them, whether he bows or not, such a master wouldn't care. Knowing that, he still would not bow also, agreed. But I know there are so many unconscious limitations, but that is what you think, but they are not. In order to become a genius, they are not. Or forget about genius. in order to become a wonderful being, in order to become a wonderful lawyer, in order to become a wonderful film director, in order to become a great CEO, in order to become a great CEO, I am talking about Parvati, or in order to become a great researcher like Arjun, in order to become a great human being, as well as, of course, a medical professional like Vinay, or in order to become a great dancer, or in order to become a wonderful fellow like Mantra Rishika Tripura Sundari, in order to make a great mother like Sara, or Veena Ganesh, or Naveen, or and all that. This much is not required, or no doubt about that. But as I told you, I have multiple dimensions this. Ultimately, we have this session for you to manage your old age only. Because when you reach your old age, it's very likely, even if you are globally known, you will be alone. You will go, even if you are a Michael Jackson or a Madonna or a Marilyn Monroe or a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs or a, what is that guy, Nikola Tesla or whoever, ultimately you will be alone. That you will know only when you reach their place. At that time, I want every one of you to be like a solid bloody mountain which cannot be shaken by any turbulence in the environment, and people, maybe one or maybe two or maybe 200 or maybe 2,000 or 20,000 people coming to you for your guidance and mentorship, which is required for the world of tomorrow. The world is already in shackles. Almost 99% of the people in the world, whether it is the Prime Minister of India or the President of China or of US or Bill Gates or whoever, I am sure they are all disturbed. They are all not able to maintain the equilibrium of the mind, I am telling, I am very sure. Because only a person with the genius in self, only a person with that close to enlightenment, that close to self-discovery, that close to self-realization can be unshakable in today's world. Then what about tomorrow's world? So I want every one of you to be supreme gurus, at least for 3 people. That is your contribution to the world. And every one of you to be rock solid and cool vis-a-vis your understanding about existence. That is the purpose of genius himself. Alright. If you, now another 30 minutes remaining, if you do this as a classroom case study, what all questions will you set for, let us say, students? Come on. Reflect for some time and write down 3 questions that you will set for a question paper to the students. For this is the only one lesson. Come on, Vivek, start doing it. 5 minutes. 3 questions. Five minutes. Time starts now. It is 10:55. ചെയ്യാൻ പോകണം. നമ്മൾ പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്ത് അങ്ങനെയല്ല, only chemistry and biology. That's what you said. ചുമ്മാ അത് നോക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കണം. പിന്നെ നീ ഇപ്പൊ നീ ഫിസിക്സ് ഒക്കെ തന്നെയാണ്. If your plan is biology and chemistry, this is a good strategy.
It's 23 hours.
നീ അവിടെ പോയി ഫിസിക്സ് എക്സാം എഴുതണം, അവിടെ പോയി biology book വായിക്കും. Do what you want to do. Do be daring. Everybody writing the physics exam, you learn your biology book. Yes, Mantra Rishika, Tripura Sundari, where are you? Okay. Yeah. Three questions. I have taken this as a case study, as a lesson. Okay? By the way, when you read out your questions, you may have to also say what levels of students you considered when you ask this question. Okay? Is that clear? Alright. Finished? Finished, Sarah? You can do. Hey, Sarah?
No, Sundarji.
No. What do you mean? You did not write three questions. That's
Yes.
what. Why? Because there is no light. Huh?
Not because of that. I'm not getting the third one.
You don't get any questions.
I'm not getting the third question.
Oh, that's all. Okay, keep on thinking. Yeah. Andra, where is she? Vivek, you got three questions?
Yes, I am also on the same situation as
Alright.
Sarah. I'm also having difficulty framing the third question.
Yeah, do it once again. Do it. And that's a good thing. You're trying to framing that. That's very important. Framing the question, all right. And he's an advocate and he has to be competent in that, all right. Okay, do the framing of the question. Yes. You have an idea of the question. You should have proper syntax, proper framing. Yes, very important. That's what I suppose maybe the legal language, I don't know. In linguistics, it is called syntax, S-O-N-T-X. Correct structuring of words. Alright, okay, do it. But you got 3 questions. Vivek, we have 3 questions.
I kind of made 2 questions.
No, I want 3 questions, no doubt. If you can get 1, you can get 2. If you got 2, you can get 3, no doubt. That's a secret agreement we have discovered some time back. There is no one thing, there are no 2 things, there are only 3 things. Entire universe, the core of the universe is 3, not 1. Alright. Where is Nitya? We have no idea. Arjun, you got 3 questions?
Yes.
Naveen?
First question is,
Yeah, you got 3 questions. Parvati.
so after the parable, I would ask the children, the level of kids that I had in my mind.
No. You need to say question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. That's all.
Yeah.
Come
Question
on.
number 1, do you love anything as much as this kid's love for one?
Okay, question number 2.
Why do you think this kid loves one so much?
Alright.
Third, discuss why he went back to his master after many years.
Okay, what are the kind of students you have in mind, or just 3 questions? Just 3 questions? No, wait. Just 3 questions, or do you have a specific audience in mind?
Yeah, when I was framing these questions, I had the kids that I'm interacting
Oh, I
with
see.
now.
Okay. Then what is their average class, average age?
Fourth standard and fifth standard, but I think it can be applied anywhere.
Alright, okay, good. Yeah. Keep the questions with you. No. Alright. Vivek. Have you framed the questions? Don't, by the way, Vivek, this is only a trial stage, okay, rehearsal stage. Do not insist on the absolute final correct answer. No. This is, I always tell you, this is an experimental, this is a rehearsal time. This is a rehearsal. Okay? I am sure every one of you will do wonders in your life, in your work. Which everyone is doing. I get reports. Just 1 week back, our Parvati joined another big company. I think this is her second shift in the last 1 year.
2 years.
In 2 years. Okay, good. She was already in a top US company over some 70,000 people. Now she has joined another company 1 week back, right?
No, I'm joining on Monday.
On Monday. If you see her on the road, nobody will suspect she is somebody that big. Sorry to use that word big and all that, just for clarification. If you see Christabel on the road, nobody will suspect that she is that. If you see Vinay, Dr. Vinay on the road, nobody will suspect that he is a genius. So, just do not mistake that when you become wonderful, people will notice you. No, that's all campaigns. Rajinikanth may be noticed, Amitabh Bachchan may be noticed in a third world country, okay? In this very third world country, Ramanujan was not noticed. Rabindranath Tagore was not noticed by India. Even now, the great rishis of India, the supreme geniuses in the history of humanity are not noticed, not recognized. So recognition, acceptance, appreciation, these are all the problems of the mediocrity. I repeat, acceptance, recognition, appreciation, etc. are the obsessions of the mediocre minds. A genius is not. If it comes, okay. If it doesn't come, okay. This is not my finding. You can look at the history of the world. Jesus never wanted to be the topmost spiritual leader in the world. He is the topmost by the statistics. Okay? Alright. Come on, Vivek. Do not wait for the final framing of the question. Just tell me the 3 questions. Time out. Time is getting out. Vivek, come on. Don't bother even if it's a repetition. Nothing wrong. Because right now it is your discovery. Maybe Parvati mentioned it, maybe Vinay may say that, but that is not important. Whether you had created that question is the critical point. Do not revise, do not get humiliated, do not worry about your idea being already told by somebody else. Now you get the point. Yeah. When you say wonderful idea, somebody may say, oh, already Socrates has said this, already Krishna has said this, already Aristotle said this, already XYZ said this. Oh, I see, okay, nice, alright. That is not an important issue. That is the problem of the majority. You can secretly be happy that it was your idea.
Right.
In 1985, when petrol crisis was the highest, once I was walking, entering the coffee room of XLR in Jamshedpur, Professor Mukherjee told me, hi, our creative guy is coming. Petrol crisis is a problem. You have any solutions? Then immediately I said, sir, creativity does not mean that you will have answers to all the questions. If it is, then you could have asked Albert Einstein to create some ideas for chemistry, some ideas for biology. No, it is domain specific. I said that. But in the night it perturbed me. Why not? I had never seen an engine. I don't know anything about engines. But by the next day morning I wrote 9 ideas about how to revise an automobile engine. I typed it and sent a letter to Osamu Suzuki of Suzuki Motor Corporation, Japan. He is still alive and I got the reply within 30 days. 9 ideas. 8 of them have been already tried. But I was happy because I did not know that. 9th idea, he said it is impossible. And I said in the beginning that Mercedes-Benz is experimenting on that idea now. So, whether somebody got that idea, it doesn't matter. Like Edmund Hillary said, because there is Everest, I climb it. That's all. Okay, Vivek, come on, talk for 3 questions.
So my questions are, I would ask this first, question 1. What is the significance of the one that the boy had kept in his mind? Question number 2. How would you identify yourself to the one that the boy was preaching? And
Okay.
3, how far would you go to promulgate your one that you identified in your life?
Alright. What is your audience? What are your students? Lawyers, other lawyers, or class 10 students, or degree students, postgraduate students? Anything like that? You may not have considered, but You can ask these questions possibly to what level of students?
I have not considered any audience for the.
Alright, okay. Alright, very good. So, once again,
So question 1 is that what is the significance of the one that the boy was interested in? Question number 2, how would you identify that one in your life?
Alright.
That is the interest one. And 3 is that how far would you go to promulgate the one that you have in your life?
Alright, okay, yes, next. Yes, who is that, Sarah?
Question number 1. Suppose you are in the place of the mentor. How do you respond when one of your students act differently in a group?
Alright.
Second one, only one student acted differently, no two or more than one. Do you find any reason for that? Third one, why the parable is only focusing in the present situation or transformation only one single student rather than pointing out the present situations of others?
Alright, beautiful. Alright, okay. Yeah, Christabel. Christabel, ready? Alright. Veena, are you there? Alright, Christabel, come on.
Just one second, sorry. My questions are probably a little more on the emotional side.
That's okay. Question number 1.
Okay, question number 1. How do you think the little boy felt at being dismissed for doing something he loved?
Alright.
Question number 2. Do you believe the boy gave up or changed his love just because he was dismissed?
Okay, 3.
Question number 3. What do you believe is the most important quality possessed by the dismissed boy that eventually helped him attain greatness?
Okay, alright. Okay. Yes. Vinay, you have finished? Naveen?
Yes, yes, I'm here. So, my first question would be address the audience that I'm addressing is say 20 to 22 years plus at the young adult postgraduate level.
All right.
And the first question would be, does a teacher also require a teacher?
Okay.
The second question is, how is it possible for a student to be a teacher to his own master?
Once again. Oh, okay. Got it. 3.
3 is, can you focus your attention in every situation in life around you so that you can see the oneness?
All right. That's all. Oneness, just oneness. Just oneness, that's all. All right, okay, yes. Veena, are you there? Veena Ganesh? No.
I'm here, sir.
Yeah, yes, Veena, question 1.
Yeah, I was thinking, in which way I am like the one? In which way I am not like the one? And are there any examples amongst us that whom we meet daily or whom we study in our textbooks that we can relate as the one?
So your questions are to yourself.
Yes.
Once again, the third question.
Can we find examples similar to the one amongst us?
Okay, alright, okay. Okay, Ganesh.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, oh, of course.
Okay. So the first question is, what what was the first thought first thought that occurred in the student's mind when he was asked to go away, and what was his objective and goal, and how did he execute to get back to the masters that he proved? And third question is, what is the reflection of you in related to that student? So these are third questions, and then my questions are targeted to people who are in industry experience around, like at the age group of 20 to 25.
Alright. Alright. Andrea, Rishika?
So my first question is, have you fallen in love with the one? Meaning the parable and the number.
Alright.
My second question is, which part of the parable you like the most? And my third question is, what did you understand from the last bit of the parable?
Once again, third question.
What did you understand from the last bit of the parable? The part where the boulder was cut into two.
Alright. Alright.
Yeah. I didn't have an audience in mind, so I was just perceiving, asking these questions to myself.
Okay, beautiful questions. Arjun, you have no questions? Yes or no?
Yes.
Come on.
One, why did the master seek advice on how to proceed when the child kept writing once?
Alright. Two.
Though he communicated to a group, why did the signal hit just one student differently?
Once again?
Though he communicated to a group,
okay.
Why did the signal hit just one student differently?
Alright.
3. What could have happened after the child left? Did he go to a different master? Would he have seen one non-arithmetic subjects?
Okay, alright, beautiful. All of you are wonderful. All questions are very powerful questions, very deep questions. Good, I am so happy. Okay. If you get 3 questions, you could get one more. What is that one more question? After hearing all these individually different 3 questions, I am so surprised. Every one of you can be surprised. Hearing all these things, can there be a fourth question in your mind? If there is with anyone, tell me that fourth question.
What next?
That's your question. All right, then. Anybody else?
If you are running a case study with this parable, what questions would you ask?
Okay. That's very intelligent. That's very clever. All right, okay. Yes, okay, Vivek. Okay, anybody? A fourth question.
What's the significance of discussing about this one parable among many, infinitely many?
All right, okay. All right, yeah, okay. Naveen?
So, next question is, what made the boy or a student to make a cut mark on the boulder?
Once again?
what made that student or former student to mark a cut on the stone boulder?
What is the focus? Is it because it is on a stone boulder or something else? The focus is on the stone boulder.
Yes.
All right.
And one more question is, what do you mean by the cutting of the boulder?
What do you mean?
By the cut mark on the boulder,
all
the
right.
stone boulder.
Yeah. It was not a cut mark, the boulder was divided into two. What do you mean by that? All right, okay. Okay, yes. Yeah.
How is it possible to do so?
Okay. So there are three more questions.
Yes.
All right. All right. If you remember your questions, if you have written down your questions, and if you remember the questions of other people, write down all those questions by every one of you in your journal, if you are keeping a journal, and reflect upon that. And definitely it will enrich your reflection power, your conceptualization power, and it is your choice to do so. All right. If I choose one of the questions, which one I am likely to choose? Okay, that's a different level of questioning. Okay. Okay, I will put up another question. Why the Zen masters, who had the singular purpose of making the disciples to discover that operating entity, operating principle, that core invariant aspect in them, created such a parable? Is the question clear? Once again, I will repeat that question with a little background. As I told in the beginning, the Zen masters, even now, what the Japanese history also reveals to an extent, they have not made any primary discoveries or inventions actually, but they made great products, great modifications, great innovations on technologies they have taken from other countries or other sources. They have done the same with the technologies of enlightenment, especially from India, which came to them from via China, via Hong Kong, etc., etc. They realized that talking a lot will not do anything. Just to give parables to the disciples and let them incubate on that and come with the questions, and then by answering and giving feedback, they were very likely to come across the correct path of their own self-discovery. There's a background. So there are about major 5 parables, and this is generally considered to be the top. Even I consider that way. Though all the parables are of equal relevance and significance and critical linkages with the total process. So the question is, apparently, why the Zen masters themselves considered this parable as the most critical? What are the elements in the parable which make it very critical? You have to say 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Some simple words are possible. Come on. This parable roughly refers to what all requirements, what all activities, what all doings on the part of the disciples in order to reach their purposes in life. Come on.
I think the easiest one for me, the first point I would make is that it deals with a student and a master. And if you are a Zen master telling a parable to a student, it's more, they can see themselves in the story.
Therefore, they created this as, they considered sort of this as the paramount parable, right?
Yes, so I mean, my point is that the parable deals with a student reaching enlightenment through teaching from a master, and through the parable, they're hoping to get the same result.
All right, okay.
This is the parable which can challenge the master and probably put.
It's 23:30.
Oh, I see. Once again, this is a parable that challenges a master as well as a student. That's what you said.
Yes, sir.
Why it's a challenge for the master?
No. So traditionally, delivering training and then disciple catching and reflecting upon is something, but this is something which is a student goes out and gains and then come back. So that's a challenge.
Okay, all right, okay. Why do you? Okay, all right. Go on.
And master will also be surprised what level of the knowledge that disciple will carry when he comes back. So he will not be in that surprise element rather than hand-holding a training to the disciple.
Okay, all right, brilliant. Okay, agreed. But once again, what is the critical element you are pointing out? In other words, for example, if you say in other words, how will you complete that? Are you reflecting on the answer, Ganesh?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm just thinking.
All right. Yeah, it's a beautiful point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, in other words, what an eligible disciple would do on his own, something like that, right?
Yes.
Which is the requirement. Which is the thing that is not considered by the humanity. They have to reflect upon. For example, when Jesus said, I am the way and the truth, people are all just taking it up. Yeah. They are not reflecting it in their own way. Which way that is? Or when in the Indian Upanishads and when the Indian mystics are telling that I am Atma Brahma or thou art that, okay, what is it? For example, a group of disciples come asking you what is enlightenment. Okay, you go and discover. Something like that.
Yes, sir.
So that is what a real learner is, real student is, a real seeker has to do. And this is a parable where that is very beautifully demonstrated. All right, yes.
This ultimate of Zen is Tao, which is to be in a state of flow. And this boy, by his core nature, even before any training, was in a flow, state of flow.
All right, good, beautiful point. But why do you, on what basis you make that assumption?
It's not an assumption. So, if I have to say the definition of flow, it actually means you get involved into something, not bothered about what is happening around you. Just get focused with it and keep doing it. You don't have any problem keeping on doing it. So, all that attributes to a state of flow.
Okay.
So the boy was already at that level, and when the teacher monk had reported this to the headmaster monk, It was not. They were. They had. They were. They were not against him.
Oh, of course. That's beautiful. We don't need to discuss. We can discuss it for another one more session. Yeah, all right. Okay, proceed. When you say they were not against him when he was asked to go, that's what you mean, right?
Yeah, because he was. But I think they thought he was not able to manage as a little child. That is my theory. That's why they asked him to leave, or they thought it is not. He may not need more training.
All right. He has the required attributes to continue, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Okay. Yes. Anything more, Crucible, would you like to say?
No, sir, not really able to get anything. And just other than the fact that that on every level, whether you're the head monk, the teacher, or a student, that you have to have faith in yourself and faith in your own abilities, and have the courage to have your own convictions. Because we saw it on each level with the head monk, the teacher monk, and the student.
Okay, that's okay. Good. Good solution. Yes.
May I add a comment?
Yes, why not? Yes, yeah.
Vinay here.
Yes.
So I think the greatest teacher here in this parable was the student, and the master had realized it early, and eventually the teacher realized it too when at the final interaction.
Okay. If someone disagrees with your point that the student was the greatest teacher, how will you make him convinced about your point?
So the master actually saw the truth in the quality of the student in his exercise, in the way he executed the exercise of writing the numbers, and the master at that point made the realization that this child actually needed no more teaching. But it was the teacher who did not realize this, and he was the one who was frustrated. And his realization that the child was indeed great came only at that final interaction.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's why I thought Vinay would give an evidence that his point is supported by the evidence that the master himself was surprised to see that the student is doing this, and he went and talked about this to the head monk about what to do with this child. Yes, very true. This implies another important point for every one of you. Vivek, where are you? Are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, this is a comforting point. When you want to become the genius, when you want to become a master, or when you are a master, you are a master. Do not get blocked by a campaigned illusion that you need to be the top. Okay, you may come across a student who is much more greater than you potentially, or a student who is ready to do much more than what you have done. Get the point, Naveen?
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
do not get offended by that. The problem with India, I would say, the problem with this India is that even a teacher, even an experienced teacher would get jealous or offended by the performance of a wonderful student. I have experienced it myself. And this is probably the situation all over the world. That's why almost all creative geniuses in the history of the world are not from schools or universities. So the master should have the magnanimity to appreciate The wonder of a student. Am I right, Krishabal? Yeah. Do not pretend. I pretend most of the time like a bloody fool, in fact. In fact, even Amaya has questioned me many times, why did you say like that? I don't know. I even pretend sometimes I am a fool, so that the disciple would feel great about him. And I don't say that you should do that, but what Vinay said was a great point. You must be ready to accept that a guy who you come across could be a potentially wonderful, more wonderful than you. You don't have to feel humiliated about that. You don't have to feel low, L-O-W, low. Get the point, Vivek? Yeah. In other words, there is a definition that a great leader is supporting other people to transcend him. There are one or two others slightly different grade of parables where a master appears to be a servant. Actually, there is a parable, well-known parable, which is it's a Chinese parable, where the master worked throughout as a servant for the disciples. Where in that actual parable, which I can tell you sometime later also, at the end of the journey, the students realized that the real master has been working as a servant for him. In fact, inspired by this parable, one great guy in the US by name Joseph Jaworski, you can check it in the internet, Joseph Jaworski, Jaworski, who himself was one of the topmost lawyers in the US, who was the son of another Jaworski who single-handedly managed the impeachment of President Nixon. Anyway, this Joseph Jaworski, just by reading that parable, just imagine, I will repeat, Joseph Jaworski was heading or owning the topmost lawyer firm in the entire US. And lawyer firms make the maximum money in the US. Okay? Then Joseph Jaworski happened to read a parable and he just closed the company, Vinay, and with that money he purchased some 2,500 acres of land and created an institute and all that. And inspired by this parable, he created a theory of leadership called servant leadership. Heard of that, Naveen?
Yes,
Parvati? Heard of that? Yeah.
that is one of
Yes.
the objectives of all the
Yes.
executives in corporate companies.
Servant leadership. In fact, what Vinay is pointing out that, don't bother. You may be, in fact, I have got comments to somebody telling me that you do not know this, you fool. I said, yeah, I don't know. What is going to be wrong? Why that trained craving that we should be always on top of the others? No, that is what is demonstrated by almost even the all great leaders. What was the so-called greatness of Jesus when he was alive? He was simply crucified like a ridiculous thief and nailed in the middle of two notorious thieves. What was the life of Buddha, who was born as a prince? What was the life of Krishna? He had to live in abandonment for 5 years with nobody known kind of the Pandavas. On what basis we are all trying to seek the acceptance and we one up before somebody? Now, these are all points which can be delineated from what Vinay pointed out and what somebody else added on to that. Get out of all norms. Be an innocent being. In fact, there is a definition which I have told some time back about creativity, that a creative individual is a child, metaphorically. All right. Yeah.
So this
Yes.
which parable Joseph read?
Once again.
which parable Joseph read? In the sense which leads to his transformation, the same parable or something else?
You're not clear. Which parable?
I mean the same parable we are discussing about or something else, some other parable?
What?
Which transformed his life?
My life?
Joseph, Advocate Joseph.
Joseph Jaworski. You can refer to the internet. Second word is Jaworski, I or Y, something like that. Okay. Parable. I don't know the name of the parable. I don't remember the name of the parable. Anyway, if you buy a book by him, or it is available free on internet, the name of the book is, I think, Servant Leadership. It's a small book of something like 180 pages. In that book, that parable is written. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
I think it is available free, and you can just read that parable. It's a small parable. There's a group of a feudal king, and as I remember, a feudal king and his a group of people, whatever, they were going to meet, okay, in roughly, somewhat roughly, a feudal king and his paraphernalia, his group of 150 people of the palace. They were going towards another location where the king wanted to meet a great master about whom he had heard of. Okay, the king wanted to. Okay, so naturally, when the king goes, another 150 people go with him, and there was a guy also. When they go for a large journey with the caravans and all kinds of people in the past, in some ancient times, there were cooks also to cook food. Okay. Because it's a 5-day journey, whatever, all right? A cook, again carrying all food materials, you can see that, right? Sarah? So
yes,
there's
yes,
a cook.
yes.
So they will stay in some place. The cook, meanwhile, like some people nowadays go, a group of people go for huge picnics and they carry all the food materials. They will station some place, they cook the material and eat the food and then they proceed the journey. That was the situation. And there was the cook also. And they had a 5-day journey or something like that, and they reached that place where that monk or the great monk or whatever the king wanted to meet, such an esteemed monk or whatever, was having some meeting or something like that, and they reached there, and there was whatever arrangement, and the king of course was received, and the king was sitting, and then all the audience were sitting, and there was the dais or whatever, and they were all waiting for the arrival of the great monk, okay? At the appointed time, the great monk arrived and sat there. Okay, Sarah?
Yes, Sundar.
Are you listening?
Yes, I'm here.
And the king was shocked. Who was that monk?
A kid.
What?
A kid, less than 10 years old.
No. He was the cook who has been traveling with them cooking food for all the people.
Oh.
That is how the servant leadership. He was the servant. Yeah. So that is somewhat the parable. Little more details are there. And the story of Joseph Jaworski also is, sorry. The name of the book is Synchronicity. SYNCHRONICATY. Not servant leadership. No. Synchronicity. And that synchronicity, that book is about servant leadership. Alright. Name of the book is Synchronicity. And I want each one of you to develop synchronicity also, which we will discuss sometime later.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. It is 10 minutes to 12. Reflect upon this. And all the questions, every question developed by every one of you is critically significant. I repeat, I was so happy to understand the implications of that question and the mind setting by which you created that question. beautiful clarity of thinking and understanding of the parable and the implications of the parable, and every activity of your life can be inspired by this parable, whether cooking a cup of tea or managing a meeting or conducting a debate in the court, Vivek, or directing a film or creating a prospectus for the HR revolution of the company, or devising a research plan, or things like that. Okay. What is the second point of view, Mantra Rishika? What is your second question, Mantra Rishika? Hello? Still. What was your three questions to self, Veena?
My second question was.
Oh, there's a internet delay.
Hello, am I clear now?
Yes, it's clear.
When I on the video, it's a little bit slow.
All right, okay.
So my second question was, which part of the parable you like the most?
And which part of the parable you like the most?
I like the part where the master comes in to the class and he finds this pupil almost fainted after writing a lot of ones.
Very interesting. Why that is the most liked thing, very interesting?
Yeah, because I think that was one of the most important turning points in the life of the pupil.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Had he not been sent away from that monastery, maybe he would never have achieved what he achieved.
All right, beautiful. What was your question to yourself, Veena?
Which way I am not like the one.
That is normally your concern, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which way I am like the one. So I was reminded of when I started studying multiplication tables in class 3 or class 2. I would never remember the tables by heart. So my mother told me, I gave more 3 into 3 is 3 more, and 3 more numbers I had to 3 multiples of 3 I had to write 1, 1, 1, keep on adding ones. So that is the way I learned the tables. Yeah, so I mean, not exactly like this student. I'm not that, what do you call it, genius kind of student. But that was, I could relate to that, probably because I did not understand that.
All right, okay. But I have catched another point. You said indeed that I am not that kind of genius student. On what basis you make that statement?
Yeah, because this is the top of the world, what you call parable you are telling us. So my ordinary life, I think I am not like that. That is why we are here.
No, this is a rehearsal camp, okay? All right. Yeah? Now, this is a rehearsal camp. Okay. You being here does not anyway imply that you are all you are not geniuses, okay? This is a feedback situation where you have an opportunity to discover the map of the territory of your genius. That's all. Yes. And don't get influenced by the concept of cutting a boulder by just doing like this on the air and all that, which is also actually possible, which was done by many of the Indian mystics actually. And even now there is a theory actually that the great pyramids of Egypt have been constructed by people of that level. Because even now there is no clarity how 300 ton, 500 ton kind of heavy stones have been lifted to that height and placed so precisely and all that. So there is a theory that stones were lifted into that height and positioned there by the power of attention. So, all right.
So that is the physical power, no? Like what Newton did to gravity, the single thought why the apple was falling down broke the boulder of, what is the cracking of the boulder, that he found out the solution to that. So that can also be called the breaking of the boulder.
Okay, okay. All right.
Like what you are doing to us.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm doing a wonderful job. And the greatest thing you also have to remember is to identify the speciality, identify when you interact with somebody, you interact in such a way that that person's uniqueness already present in him or her automatically comes out. Okay? And you pick it out and give it back. That feedback is essential. And human evolution is possible only by feedback. Because when the birds and the cats and the rats are programmed by the nature process, human beings are given as an empty, powerful engine. So if it is given Tamil, it will talk Tamil. It is given Hindustani music, it will produce Hindustani music. So feedback. So all your purpose of becoming a genius in self is to give feedback to people about their genius, which you are really good at also. Now, that's okay. Now, there's a lot to discuss on every question. So, those who want to be inspired about the ones that you understood from these interactions, develop on that once. And I again suggest, just don't compromise with this only one existence. The only one, we call the only, we are the only one in the world, and this is an only one existence. There may be theories about previous birth, subsequent birth, etc. Okay, let it be there. But in this existence, constantly strive to do wonders that make you feel happy about you. And that happiness shall not be defined by the public campaigns about recognitions and Nobel Prizes and awards and rewards and all that, which would not last. When you are on the stage receiving the praise, you may feel a thrill, but the time you are out of the stage, it is gone. But that recognition and the acceptance and appreciation that will be emanating or originating from within that original self of you will be everlasting. That is the real, that is the true. That is the evidence of the presence of the so-called God inside you. You need the recognition from that trace of that godness in you. That is the aspect which will give you that feeling of wonder about you. Okay? And you have to feel wonder about you. Secret wonder. A secret thrill. An absolutely secret thrill about you. And that in all moments of your secret thrill about you, I am sure that the power that created you from out of the materials of the nature would feel very, very relieved, like a master. Your master is the universe. You can look at it that. We are all children in the classroom of the universe. The entire universe, every falling stone, every flying leaf and every flying cloud is the master, or altogether the master. And with what we get inspired and with what wonder we will show back to that master is the critical point. Clear?
Sir, I wanted to ask, why should it be a secret thrill?
That you will know when you develop it. Not necessarily a secret also, Uday, alright? Not necessarily. Like even Jesus said openly, I am the way and the truth. Even Krishna openly told Arjuna that I am the Prapancha. No, you can do that also. That's a matter of choice. No problem, Uday. Alright? Okay. Okay, so with this we sort of cut short the possible probable magnitude of this wonderful parable named the One. And always remember, you are the only one in the whole world of humanity. And why that only one is here? Why that only one is here? That's all. Good night.